let's see. Let's see if I'm live. Okay. Let's see if I can hear myself. Yeah. I think we're good.
Alright.
Alright, what's going on? Rainbow here. Welcome to another live stream. As you may have noticed, my Tropics stream got removed for no reason at all. YouTube claims that it had something to do with third-party content, as in copyright. And while that may be true, people who have used the same exact audio have either gotten only claimed or haven't even gotten nothing done to them at all. So, just clarifying. Hope to get it fixed. We'll have to wait and see.
Alright.
But anyways, we're gonna react to some weather things, if that be animations, other things. Hopefully, as long as I don't get copyright. That would suck. But welcome everybody to the live stream. Hello cats. Hello nothing. Hello Death Star. Hello NA, who is literally in the Discord call with me.
Yes.
And Zach. Hello everybody. You guys can request me anything, as long as I hope it don't give me copyright claims or anything. So Death Star, may I request for what to watch? Yeah, you can send me whatever.
Looks like there are like a good number of people in the stream right now.
Yeah, 12 people.
Yep, hopefully that increases further. Looks like there are like a good number of people in the stream right now.
Mm-hmm. I suggest Force 13's 2012 Atlantic hurricane season animation. Okay.
I'll be right back.
2012 Atlantic hurricane season. Here we go, boys. Shoot. My computer does this all the time and I hate it. There's Alberto. I think this is Burial, if I ain't mistaken. This is the one that came in at 70 miles an hour. Could have had our first May hurricane in almost 50 years. Because it came ashore into Jacksonville at 70 miles an hour and just shy of hurricane status.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Hello. Barrel.
Chris. Chris became a hurricane pretty high latitude.
Yeah, and in June.
Yeah.
Late June.
Yeah. There's Debbie. Sloppy Debbie. Here we go, the big boys.
Yeah, Ernesto was a decent hurricane.
Yeah. Yeah, Category 2 is pretty good. What's going on, Nicole? It almost became a hurricane again had it stayed over water a little longer. So you watch.
Wow.
It was getting pretty close.
Florence was uninteresting.
Yeah. As it was until 2018.
Yep.
Seven L just dies. I think it does become something though, if I ain't mistaken. It becomes Helene. I think. Could be wrong. There's Gordon. Yeah. Becomes like a very weak Helene. Gordon was decent. I mean, Category 2 right below the Azores. Whew.
Wow. That's pretty good feat for a hurricane.
It just is August, so I mean, that's to be expected, kind of.
Yeah, since peak season is pretty close.
Now here comes Isaac. The famed Isaac. That could have been a lot worse. Yeah, had Isaac done a track like this into the Gulf, I think it would have been a whole lot worse.
Interesting. Isaac was an interesting hurricane. I think it was a Cat 1 with pressure below 970 millibars.
Yeah, had it come in through the Caribbean and through the Gulf instead of doing all that land interactment, it would have probably become a pretty decently strong, maybe even a major in the Gulf, for sure.
Definitely.
It was still decent, though, Category 1. I mean, it was a decent Category 1 hurricane. And it came ashore, actually, same day as Katrina, which has happened a few times, actually. Into New Orleans, by the way.
Twelve named storms before September. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael was a Category 3 out to sea. And Leslie almost came ashore as a hurricane in Newfoundland. There's Nadine. Hurricane Nadine.
Uh-oh. It's gonna last forever. It's weird how there were 19 tropical storms and only 2 major hurricanes. In fact, none of those 2 major hurricanes ever attained Category 4 status or higher.
Yeah. One of them was Michael and one of them was Sandy.
Indeed. Sandy was just off the charts.
Well, it was like, I mean, they got the nickname Superstorm Sandy, Frankenstorm Sandy. I mean, you're talking the wind field extended, what was it, almost like 500 miles or more? Michael 2012 was nice, but not so nice in 2018, yeah. And Nadine sticks around for quite a while.
I find out list 4, Nadine lasts for a while. And they have Leslie, another list 4 storm, and it lasts for a while like Nadine, 6 years later.
Yeah. Here comes Oscar. I think this one was a hurricane, if I ain't mistaken. No, it wasn't. It was a tropical storm. I was thinking of 2018. Patty, Raphael, and you know, that far east in October is mid-October is pretty decent, as the main development region usually shuts down by then.
One storm I find very impressive, or pretty impressive, was a Tropical Depression 15 from 2019. It formed east of Cabo Verde in mid-October.
Oh, yeah. There's Hurricane Raphael. Skirts right by Bermuda. And here comes Sandy. To think had this depression right here become a name storm a lot quicker, Sandy would have been out to sea and Tony would have been the one everybody was talking about.
Interesting.
It's actually interesting how Sandy was the strongest in the Caribbean and almost made landfall as a hurricane in the Northeast, but became extratropical. Sandy was your it only takes one storm of 2012 for sure. It may not have been strong, but it was definitely the it only takes one storm of 2012.
All I could say about Tony right now is just it was a tropical storm and out to sea.
Yeah. Yeah, Sandy almost made landfall as a hurricane, but it became extratropical. It did go up the East Coast, though, as a hurricane, so. But it was starting to interact with that cold front by then, too, so. Yeah, it actually could have came ashore as a Category 2. Sandy did not hit Louisiana.
Sandy did not get close to Louisiana either, but
See, it was really close to being a hurricane at landfall, but it didn't make it there. It gave me a big snowstorm, though. It gave me like 2 feet of snow. It was pretty insane. And I live around this area, and Sandy brought me a big snowstorm. An October snowstorm. Big time October snowstorm.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, Isaac was 80 miles an hour, but a pressure of 965 millibars. 80 miles an hour and a pressure of 965 millibars.
That's just so weird.
I know. Because look at this. What's so weird about this, right? Isaac was 80 miles an hour, pressure of 965 millibars, but then you go down to Michael, it was a 115 mile an hour, category 3, 961.
Yeah, it looks normal for Michael. Yeah, Isaac just looks very strange.
Mm-hmm.
Some, like Isaac, would usually be a high-end Cat 2 or even Cat 3.
Yeah. Yeah, Isaac had the pressure of a category 3 for sure. And then Sandy, my God. 125 miles an hour with a pressure of 940 millibars.
Just incredible.
I know.
In fact, officially it's only 115, but I guess Force 13 has it as a 125.
Yeah.
Although I just stick to official analysis
I do
since
too.
I don't do my own.
I do too. Sandy still had the strongest landfall of 2012, though. Sandy caused $85 billion in damage. That definitely was the only takes one storm of 2012.
Yep.
$85 billion. Man. And Isaac made a pretty good, decent amount too. 2.9 billion, almost 3 billion.
Unless someone else already made a suggestion, I actually have one. I'll put a link to it.
There we go. What's y'all's suggestions? Oh.
Alright, I put a link in the chat in the stream.
Oh, shoot. The 2020 Atlantic. Oh, what is this?
Everything forms at once.
The 2020 hurricane season, if every tropical cyclone formed at once. What in the world? You guys ready for this mayhem?
It'll start out insane
God.
and slow, and then calm down overall.
God.
I'm ready.
Dear God. What is this?
It's just psychopathic.
Bro, this would be a nightmare fuel, and this would be impossible.
Yeah, like storms are like right over each other, or like very close to each other.
Mm-hmm. This would be too impossible.
I don't even know why I even made this.
Yeah, why did you make this?
I guess I was jealous of people having better eyesight than me.
You were jealous that people had better eyesight than you.
Yes, I mean, this can totally weaken or kill eyesight.
The hurricane apocalypse.
And there's Paulette as the last
I
survivor.
know.
And there it goes.
Okay, guys, give me some suggestions. What do you guys want me to watch now? What do you guys want me to watch? Let me know. You want me to watch 2004?
2004, Atlantic Pacific, Western Pacific.
Do you want me to
or
watch Atlantic?
Southern Hemisphere. No, someone just said
Check
2004,
the
but I'm joking.
NHC.
Like which season? Atlantic, Pacific.
What about the NHC? It's just the same as what it was at 8 p.m. Except it
I'll
is.
go check.
They need
All I
to fix.
see is marine warnings are in effect for Kramer Central or Southwest Atlantic. Although I usually don't pay much attention to that personally.
We're gonna do 2004 Atlantic because that was just an incredible season. It changed to 80? Did it really? No, it's been like that since 8. Here we go, 2004. I'm gonna definitely need to restart this. For sure. Give me 1 minute, guys. Here we go. 2004 Atlantic. Here we go. If it'll load. Technical difficulties. I'm having 14 people watching, by the way. It's insane.
Nice. Oh, now it says 11, but hopefully it'll go back up.
I jinxed myself. Here we go. 2004 was an incredible season, though, for sure. Such a quiet start, but a furious peak season. Here we go. Alex was pretty decent. Even in North Carolina, it was pretty decent. It had some pretty strong impacts in North Carolina, even though it didn't make landfall.
And then unrelated, I think 9060 is getting closer and closer to tropical cyclone status, but I'm not sure if it has a close center or if it's just organizing still.
For sure. But Alex did do some pretty good, decent impacts in the Outer Banks, for sure.
Whoa, that's very far northward. Okay.
Yeah. Oh god,
That should
here's
be
Charlie.
half full.
Here's Charlie. I think Bonnie could have been a hurricane. Florida could have had back-to-back hurricanes a week apart from each other.
I just realized too, stream will actually be delayed for me, so you're actually gonna see it before everyone else does, I think.
Oh yeah, true.
I think it's like a 10-second delay.
Charlie was a surprise of how strong it got right up at landfall. It really was a surprise in South Florida. I mean, it went from like 115 to like 150 in just a matter of like an hour or a few. I mean, it's crazy. No, it was like, it went from like a category 2 to coming ashore as a 150 mile an hour category 4 in like less than 6 hours. It was crazy.
Charlie was a monster of a hurricane.
I mean, just the way it did that. I mean, look. Weakened down to a 2, and then just exploded right before landfall and got up to 150 miles an hour. I mean, that's insane. And it caught a lot of people off guard, too. Danielle's just one of those storms that just stalls there.
I'm actually gonna look up Hurricane Danielle real quick because some slightly notable hurricane and pretty far east.
It was decent.
Yeah, almost Cat 3, actually 110 and
It was
964.
110, and this is what it looked like at peak. Looked really good. The track, though, was just something else. Here comes the barrage of just storms hitting Florida over and over and over again. Starts with Francis. Well, it kind of started with Charlie, but just eyes Florida as a Category 2 and then comes in a Category 3. Boom. No, actually, no, it was Category 2, I think, when it came. Yeah, it was Category 2 Francis, not Category 3. I thought it was Category 3 for some reason. Here comes Ivan. Here comes big boy Ivan.
I'm just gonna test some really quick.
Here's big boy Ivan.
Ivan was just an absolutely incredible hurricane. I wonder would be like if we saw this in Martin, they like have people on Twitter or whatever Twitter's to become, or on YouTube, how they would react.
What was so interesting about Ivan was how it turned and kind of became a tropical storm again. And see, Carl actually caused Gene to go towards Florida. It kind of Carl steered Gene to Florida. Pretty interesting, actually.
Oh my goodness, I forgot that there were 4 tropical cyclones at once. Carl was arguably the best hurricane of the season because it did not strike when it was a powerful, pretty long track hurricane.
It did cause Gene to turn towards Florida. So.
Interesting.
Yeah. Matthew. Weak boy Matthew. And then you got Nicole over here. And then we end off the season with Otto.
I kind of like Otto, just like how late in the year it was.
Yeah. Had the NHC on their toes in December. I mean, look at Ivan's eye. I mean, look at that. That's amazing. I mean, Ivan's eye was just incredible.
Ivan is just wow.
165 miles an hour with a pressure of 910 millibars. And yet Dorian was 185 with a pressure of 910 millibars. I think it was 910. Was it 910 or was it 9? Yeah, it was 910. So Ivan had a pressure of a 185 mile an hour category 5. Supposedly. Charlie obviously was the one that had the big landfall, 150 miles an hour. Yeah, Dorian's pressure was kind of high for the intensity it was. It should have been down in the probably the 890s, honestly.
Yeah, Dorian's was pretty high for 185. I know Rita was 180. Wilma was 185, and yeah, it was an 882. It's not just a wind, but also I think the size and environment. But yeah,
Which Dorian was pretty big. Ivan caused $27 billion and Charlie caused $23 billion. Think about that. We had 2 hurricanes that caused over $20 billion in damage.
I know some have Dorian at 190 or possibly even 195, although I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Although personally, just because I just follow whatever National Hurricane Center says, even with Julia 2010.
Yeah. What now, guys? What do you want me to watch now? What do you guys want me to watch now?
I might put a suggestion as if no one else does anything, I'll just put a suggestion.
What do you guys want me to watch? Let me know. $1995.
I think 1995 is an underrated Atlantic hurricane season.
Oh, for sure. For sure, 1995 is an underrated hurricane season.
Yeah, I don't really see it get mentioned much. Also, it was also the start of the positive AMO, although I guess I did hear some people say AMO might not exist, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, a little fun fact. The current era we're in right now, supposedly, if it exists, is the positive AMO, and we've been in that era since 1995, meaning the 1995 hurricane season was the first one to be in that era in the modern time of us being in that era. And it was the first hyperactive season since 1969, which supposedly was when the previous positive AMO ended. So
I definitely am not 100% sure, but I do lean towards the AMO being real, mostly considering how just the sun's jump in activity began in 95, and the sun drop in activity in 69, and from 72 to 94.
But there was an increase in the 80s. There's been a notable increase in tropical activity since the 80s.
Like a gradual rise or just like a sudden jump? Because if it's a gradual rise, I would think that's more of like technology improving. We can detect stuff better. But if it's a sudden jump, then That
I think
is interesting.
it might be gradual. I'm not too sure. But either way, here we go. 1995. I feel like 2013 to 2015, honestly, we were in a very fast period of a negative AMO. Genuinely. Especially 2013. Which you do got to realize, though, 2014 to 2016 was a pretty strong El Nino. So, yeah, 2014 to 2016, we were in literally one of the strongest El Ninos in recorded history. So, I mean,
Oh yeah, 2015 El Nino was absolute monster.
oh, I know. Amazing. Here we go. 1995. The first year in the positive AMO era. Why is my stream... There we go. I mean, imagine having a Category 1 hurricane at the beginning of June. We don't even get that nowadays. Seriously, we don't even get that nowadays.
True. I wonder what was I think 2012 was the last time,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
But I'm talking about even in the Gulf of Mexico, we had a Category 1 in June, beginning of June at that. $1998 is forgotten, honestly. Start of the positive AMO era.
I think 295 was one of the few seasons that had 5 tropical cyclones before the start of August.
Yeah.
And there is Barry strikes Canada as a tropical storm. Twice, I guess. And tropical storm Chantal develops to north.
I think this was
Puerto Rico.
This was the first season, I think, ever in recorded history that we got past like a certain letter. Like we got to like, what was it? Did we get to S in 19?
We got T.
Yeah, I think
Hurricane Tanya at the end of the season.
It was the first time we had ever used the letter
T.
and a few other letters too. Imagine we would have gotten to the end of the naming list. That would have been something in 1995.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the first season to use the letters O through T. So, pretty interesting.
And there's Chantal moving away from land and pretty far north latitude.
There's Dean just randomly. Dean just randomly shows up as a weak tropical storm. And here's Aaron. Hits Florida. Pretty decent hurricane actually to start off August.
Yep, Aaron becomes a hurricane.
And then actually comes in stronger in Mississippi, Alabama. That's Category 2.
And there is this first tropical depression. If both tropical
look.
depressions got named, we would have reached Wendy.
Oh, look at that. Another slop in the Gulf.
Yeah. Slop apocalypse.
Well, it really wasn't that bad of a slop. It was pretty good, though. But then it, you know.
Felix's first major hurricane. And a pretty good one. Long track. And decently long-lived.
Felix could have actually been a northeast hurricane. But it, you know, it kind of turned. Humberto and Iris. Oh, here comes peak activity right here, boys.
Yeah, at one point there were like 4 or 5 tropical cyclones active at once.
Yeah. There's Jerry. Hits Florida. Tropical storm. A weak one at that. Iris goes in the Caribbean. Well, tries to at least. I think it did go in the Caribbean for like a little bit.
Here's Humberto and Iris.
There's Karen. Oh, here we go. Here's peak activity.
Oh, you do not get 5 at once, you just get 4 at the most.
See, if Karen wouldn't have been a Karen, we could have had 3 hurricanes simultaneously in this kind of general area.
True. Lewis becoming a very powerful hurricane. I think some have argued as a Cat 5.
Oh, look, here's the Fujiwara effect right here. I remember this.
I remember too.
And then Iris just completely devours Karen. Completely devours it.
And Iris flees from Lewis.
And here comes the first bad one of the season.
Oh no. And Lewis strikes Canada's
Here comes the second bad one of the season, Maryland.
I think Maryland's an underrated hurricane. I honestly do.
There's Noel. And here comes, I think it's Opal. That's Opal. There's Opal.
Oh no. Some people can argue
here now. Here comes
Hello.
Opal. Fun fact, there's actually a beach named Opal Beach where Opal came ashore on the Gulf Coast.
I've heard that before. That's interesting. I've heard some argue that Opal is actually a Cat 5.
Yeah.
Excuse me, what?
There's Pablo.
Pablo. And there's Roxanne. There's Roxanne.
Pablo could have been a hurricane.
Yeah.
And yep, there's Roxanne, the final major hurricane.
Yeah, the final bad hurricane of the season.
Who's the 1995 anime? Are you watching?
Force 13.
Oh. Was it their most recent one?
Yes.
Gotcha.
What made Roxanne so bad was its flooding, wasn't it?
Probably considering how like little it moved,
Yeah.
or I mean, how slow it moved when it was a near land.
There's Sebastian, a name we still use.
Sebastian was interesting in 2019.
Here's Tanya.
Last storm season of one of the best seasons of the modern era. You could argue this was better than 2010.
Yeah. The fact we didn't even get a Category 5 in 1995. We had so many 150s, I swear. Hey, what is this? I want to see this. Oh, it's Median's Southwest Indian. Animation. For 22 and 23. This one's going to be interesting because of Freddy. They didn't name for us. There's Darian.
I don't remember really tracking much of the
I remember Darien pretty good. Still kind of wished it would have peaked as a 5. It was pretty close, but it didn't make it.
Yeah, I remember I didn't track much since I'm not really interested in tracking our basements for whatever reason, except for Freddy, because that was
God,
extremely long-lived. And I just wanted to keep going and going and just push that record. That's the longest lived.
Freddy was crazy. There's Cyclone Chinesto. Actually, Tropical Storm Chinesto. Oh yeah, it was Cyclone Chinesto. Yeah, it always hits Madagascar. I wonder what beef it's got with Madagascar, I swear. Here... No. Not yet. Comes.
Oh no.
Here comes old Freddy boy, I think. No, this is Freddy. That's Dingy. This is Freddy.
Oh no.
There's Freddy.
Freddy's approaching.
Freddy got to a Category 5 Cyclone. He's amazing. It's astounding.
Yes, I think on multiple occasions too.
Yeah. Here it goes. Boom. It ain't done yet. It's coming back. And just when you thought Freddy was gonna die, I mean that's when we all thought Freddy was gonna die. It says, psych, comes right back. It just literally says psych and comes right back. Final landfall.
Oh my goodness. Freddy lasted
I think
longer than for...
Freddy's gonna be a name they retire for sure. Freddy, don't they retire? They retire names down there, don't they?
If I remember correctly, they actually retire whatever is due, so if a name is used, they'll just retire it.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure if that applies to just southwest Indian Ocean storms that form the basin or also storms that cross over, but I could see Fred getting retired
Mm-hmm.
either way.
Hey, Julius. What's up? That's Fabian.
Fabian was clouds.
Okay. Oh, look, a picture of an owl. That's amazing.
And Freddie broke multiple records during his trek across the Southwest Indian Ocean, including longest lived tropical cyclone record most ace and Chineso Bezer Madagascar.
Yeah.
And Darien was a very powerful storm.
1,434 fatalities. Man.
My goodness, that's horrible. That's actually horrible. I forgot, but I remember hearing about Fred's death rise, but it's actually horrible. Over 1,000 people left dead because of this cyclone.
Yeah. It was the second deadliest on record. Quite insane. What if Rainbow played one of my animations? Well, Julius, it might be your lucky day. Let's see. Let's do his 2023. Only off by a couple days, you know.
Oh yeah, Arlene. And Brett forms. Reminds you of 2005's Brett.
Mm-hmm.
3. And Cindy just strikes East Coast and dies in the middle of June.
Dawn and Emily. Which, honestly...
Oh, 2 names storms in July at the same time.
That really isn't that off from Dawn. Even though this was Emily. But Emily was technically... Dawn was technically Emily, which meant he got it right. Because Dawn was technically Emily because of that unnamed subtropical storm. So he technically got Emily right because Dawn is Emily. In terms of this area.
Dawn was a nice hurricane this year. I remember people wanting it to die.
Although Emily was somewhere up here. I mean, Dawn was somewhere up here. This was the 28th. Bro, I just realized something.
What is it?
Had 95L formed in the Caribbean, this would have been correct. I'm not even joking. Had 95L formed, this would have been correct.
Wow.
Somewhat. In terms of its initialization.
Oh, so wait, what? 6 tropical cyclones before August? I didn't even realize that until now, but that's very good. It's very impressive feat.
That's basically gonna be our East Coast storm. It's gonna likely be either Emily or Franklin.
HG said it's actually frontal now, but I'm good. I should take a look at it.
Although I'm not sure about a hurricane, but you know. Wait a minute. Wait
Oh
a
yeah,
minute.
19 knows now frontal. Oh,
Wait a minute. Wait a
Franklin.
minute.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You know, a couple 100 miles off, but still.
Interesting.
Although this one's actually in for the U.S.
Figure. Now we'll see if anything else in the future is interesting.
Watch, Harold's gonna do a Harvey. Never mind. I'm stupid.
Or maybe it will. We'll see. I guess not. Yeah, stream's delayed for me.
I knew Julius wasn't gonna make Adelia weak. I knew this was gonna happen.
I think he paused the wrong time.
Where's Jose?
Cat 4 Idalia. Oh goodness, this is close to Florida strikes for as a Cat 4.
There's Kadia. Oh god, I know what he's gonna do with Kadia. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh goodness. Nasty landfall in Belize. Or border of Belize and Mexico. Probably northern Belize. Also, what? It strikes Texas as a hurricane at the end of September, at the start of August.
There's Lee. That's kind of believable, actually. A Lee track like that would be believable.
Lee reminds me of Carl of last year, except it's much stronger
Yeah.
than Carl.
Be the second. There's Margot.
Interesting.
I want to see what he predicted. 80. That's interesting. 155 for Adelia and 145 for Katia. Bro, Adelia caused $106 billion in damage. God.
Oh my goodness, 106 billion. I didn't even realize that. I thought it said 10.6 billion at first, but no.
13 tropical storms, 6 hurricanes, and 3 majors. Oops, I didn't mean to do that again.
13 tropical storms, 6 hurricanes.
Here's what we're gonna watch now, guys. Credit to
Someone suggested something.
Tropical Cyclone Watch, by the way.
Yeah, he suggested
Oh yeah, this is wasn't this the animation? Wasn't this the animation that I just watched like on his channel a couple days ago?
Oh wait, I might have actually linked the wrong animation. He suggested 2023, but I put 2024.
I was about to say this one's the one I just watched like 3 days ago.
Oh, I think he meant 2023's actually. I sent the wrong link.
Cause see, look, make a hurricane just stall over West Virginia for the 2025 hypo. that'd be funny. That'd be nuts. Wait, which one do you want me to watch? 2023? Okay. Give me a second. I'm gonna do a little shortcut. I'll do a little shortcut. Well, shoot. Here we go.
I might have seen this animation before, but I'm not sure. But I'll Arlene.
Here we go. Arlene. 65 miles per hour. 991 millibars. Pretty decent. $400 million in damages and 12 fatalities.
Maybe it's sunk a random boat.
Who knows? There's Brett. Brett's doing something illegal. $50-mile-an-hour wind.
That is a very weird track.
It's a cursed track. I find find it very interesting that on his animation, no storms form in the month of August.
That's like last year.
You don't even get the sea name storm until September. But it pay the consequences.
Cindy. Oh no.
It would pay the consequences. Are we really paying the consequences? Dear Lord.
Dawn. Emily.
We're really paying the consequences on
Oh
this
my
one.
goodness. Dual cat for her.
Dual cat force. Uh-oh. Oh no. I don't like the look of that.
Oh, this cat 5.
Oh, that's a Hugo. That's a Hugo right there, boys. It's literally a Hugo.
Oh,
It's literally Hugo.
and oh my goodness, $60 billion in damage.
I like how Gert is just hanging out over here and towards Africa.
I'll be right back.
There's Harold. Oh wow. A deadly nor'easter. Oh God. Wait, what? The Atlantic remains calm until a catastrophe. Oh God. What do you got planned for us in October?
In before Wilma repeat.
Oh dear God, I know. Oh no. Oh dear God. Of course. It had to be the K name story.
K name.
It had to be. Yep. I saw that happening. I saw this happening. Yep.
Oh my goodness, what is that?
Bro, that caused
I know it
damage
cost at
beyond
least $1.
comprehension. $210 billion and 2,639 fatalities. God.
That is incredible.
What we left behind. Huh. The Lee's very strong. $323 billion in total damages for the season. 12 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 4 majors. It's pretty
Over
decent.
$300 billion in damages and over 3.3 thousand deaths.
Yep. Emily was 175. Not at landfall. Peak. And Claudia was only 155 miles an hour.
Now let's watch SpongeBob. No, I'm joking. Actually, I would be very careful because I know Viacom is known to sue people for or
Oh,
gets
I
the
know.
SpongeBob stuff taken down for dumb reason.
I know. Claudia carried for sure. "1962 typhoon season." That's a really good typhoon season right there. That's a really good typhoon season, 1962.
1962. I don't know much about the season. Besides that, it was a season.
It's the amazing 1962. Oh, I love lag. Don't you just love lag?
1962.
Now, I'm just imagining right now, right? A hurricane named Georgia hitting Georgia.
Tito, you would die by just the storm even forming. I think I might have to mute. So,
Huh? What'd you say?
oh, I just muted myself. I'm gonna be doing some other things too, but I'll also be talking and looking at the stream and stuff.
Alright. Hope. Yes, sir. What's going on, HD?
Irish.
Oh, that's just that's just that. No, that.
I'll be right back.
2 of those. There was 2 of those this season. What in the world? Oh God. Ooh. Ooh. How many of these hit Korea? I swear to...
Wasn't there a Typhoon Vera once, not in 62, but another year that struck Japan as a Cat 5?
I think, I'm not
Because
sure.
they could have sworn.
Uh-oh. You said there was a you said there was a Category 5 Super Typhoon that hit Japan in 1962, right?
I said there was a typhoon named Vera that was a Cat 5 that struck Japan, but it was not in 1962.
Oh. HD said it was 1959. Oh my lord, I just noticed that.
Oh, I just forgot I'm unmuted, but what?
Yeah.
There's some near the United States.
Wow.
Ooh. I almost went down. I'm playing Black Ops. So,
The
WWE is a very good show. I was just saying some random message.
Come on, mice. Okay, come on, mice.
Not mom.
Come on, get out.
Wait, hold on. Alright, okay. Yeah, okay. $1966 Atlantic.
AHD.
$1966 Atlantic. $1966 was actually pretty decent. You had like Inez and all that stuff in it. Yeah, 1966 had like Inez, a few other notable. Well, it was really just mostly Inez though. Bruh. Well, and you had Alma. Now, the fact we had a major hurricane in June is amazing.
Does it sound good?
Yeah, and the fact we had a major hurricane in the month of June was amazing.
Is this 1966?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I remember that season. By the way, after this one, my recommendation is 1973. If you haven't done it, 1973 West Side. If you haven't done it.
I mean, Faith had a lot of faith, you know? I had to, okay? I had to. Faith had a lot of faith, and she put her faith into everything she did.
Yeah, managed to become a
Shit.
major, at least.
She had some major faith.
pretty good in terms of pace generally.
Yeah.
I would imagine it was pretty long track. Stayed as a Cat 1, Cat 2 for most of its life.
Yeah. There's Greta. Here comes Inez. Yeah, here comes Inez. The big storm of 1966. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, it passed just south of Puerto Rico though. It's southern DR and Haiti pretty good though.
Yeah.
By the way, it's not 100% sure because there wasn't any high resolution satellite imagery by that time, obviously, but it's likely that Judith got extremely sheared by Inez's outflow. Like you can see, there's a picture I'm gonna send
Yeah.
on the general chat, and you can see the exposed low-level center. I
Yeah.
already sent it.
I could see it, for sure. Wait, hold on. Let me look. What'd you send it on?
The general voice chat.
Oh, the general voice chat, like the... Hold on. VC chat. Oh, yeah, definitely. You can see the low-level circulation. And for 1966, it looked pretty good. I mean, it was pretty good resolution for that.
Yeah, I just hopped on to Google, try to search something up because I knew it was probably outflow shear, considering how short-lived
It
it
was
was.
very, very likely outflow shear. Or,
Yeah,
the down...
yeah.
I seriously don't understand how they didn't catch this. I think it's because of it being a subtropical entity at first. But then it became tropical storm. I don't know how they didn't pick this up, even on satellite.
I think, mainly I'd say systems that far out were more inconsistently designated because obviously with a subtropical storm,
Uh-huh.
those weren't really recognized before.
Yeah.
But
See, I'm
I
wondering why
think
did it take them so long to recognize a subtropical storm as as a entity of a named storm. Like it
To
took
be
them all the
honest,
way. It took them all the way to 2000.
yeah, I don't know why either. Like I can't give you an exact answer, but I guess it comes with the surge of the new technologies for weather, I
Yeah.
guess. Like
Yeah.
when you have more satellite estimates, better satellite resolutions, better satellite images. It's like more of a variety.
Mhm.
I think it comes down to that. Like you
Uh huh.
have better options to spot them.
I yeah. I mean, you're probably very, very correct on that for sure.
Yeah, and 14 was a tropical storm
Mhm.
in 1966, but I think, like I said, like those storms that were far off northeast near the Azores, those were inconsistently designated, so I could see why it wasn't designated there.
Yeah, for sure. And the same thing with 15.
Yeah.
The overall was a pretty active season. 15.
It's pretty balanced really between deep tropic and subtropic activity.
Yeah. The earliest May hurricane. I mean, earliest major hurricane to strike the continental U.S. since 1825. Just insane. Inez was 165. At least Force 13 says that Inez was 165. I believe Inez either way was 165 miles an hour.
Yeah, but I got a chance to do some help with
Yeah.
the analysis.
The track was insane though. I mean, that had to be a big ace booster for sure. Especially when it did that.
Typically ace from what I
Especially
gathered
when,
from
yeah.
this track data.
Especially when it did something like that. But
It actually lost the ace unit the recent analysis.
I mean, even in 1966, this looked really good. For sure. Obviously, 1966, this wouldn't have been much, but I mean, this was a lot back in 1966. $226 million. I wonder what it is adjusted with inflation. How much would Inez's damages be now? It probably wouldn't be as big. But I don't know. It's insane how many people Inez killed. It was like almost 1,300 people. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Let's do the 1991 North Indian Ocean cyclone season because Woods, he suggested that to me. So we gonna do this. 1991 1991 North Indian Ocean cyclone season. If it will load. And by God, I hope it does.
Still loading.
Here we go. That's insane. That there was a there was a tropical storm in January in the North Indian Ocean, which, you know, ain't entirely, you know, crazy, but, you know, I mean, but it is.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen very often.
It was weak either way.
So I'm currently looking at the rules just to make sure.
By the way, the question about, and that says damages, if it was 266.8 million in 1966.
Mm-hmm.
I calculated it from a Google website. I don't know if the rate that they're showing of inflation increase is correct, but I got about $2.5 billion on the damages.
I mean, I think that'd be rather accurate.
Yeah, that would be as of 2022, I think.
Yeah, that'd be accurate for sure. I think 2.5 billion would probably be pretty good.
What site did you use? Because I used the inflation calculator and I got 2.1 billion.
Yeah, it was close enough. So it's, yeah, around that, just above 2 billion.
All right, let's continue. Here we go. Bob.
When I started tracking, I actually thought those Bay of Bengal storms were all called Bob.
I did too. I did too.
Bob the Builder.
There's the Bangladesh Cat 5.
On the night of April 29,
I forgot about this
Bangladesh was
stupid
hit
thing.
by a devastating cyclone. Winds of up to 145 miles an hour were followed by a terrifying wall of water which crushed everything in its way. The horror was
Alright, this is
I wonder.
1991.
Wait, hold on. I
I
want to
didn't
see
even notice
something.
the year.
Hold on. I want to see this. Hold on. I
on
want
the
to see
night of
something
April
here.
29.
Trevor McDonald. Hold on. I want to see if he's still alive. Bro, he's still alive. He's 83 years old. Yeah, he's 83 years old. He's still alive. As of 2023. He doesn't look like he was even that young even in 1991.
Bangladesh was hit by a devastating cyclone.
Only a couple years old when I
Winds
died.
of up to 145 miles an hour were followed by a terrifying wall of water which crushed everything in its way. The horror was unimaginable.
Bangladesh
At
Category
least
5.
200,000 people may have died. Millions more are suffering and homeless. The people were helpless.
I want to skip this
Very-
crap.
Took mothers and children to this country.
what's crazy about the Bangladesh Cat 5 is that the sea surface temperature anomalies in the Bay of Bengal by that time
Mm-hmm.
were just near average or below average. So it managed to do that with below average sea surface temperatures.
That's pretty interesting, actually. Here we go. Another storm. 70 miles an hour, and apparently no fatalities and no damages. There we go. Yeah, this is before they started naming the storms in the Bay of Bengal. Bro, that does not fit well. That does not fit well, bro. That does not fit well. Like, at all. 45, 165, 70, 65. That does not fit well, bro.
Yeah, so my request is 1973 Westpac, mainly just because of Nora but it also had a lot of activity in the South China Sea.
I'll do that in a minute.
All right.
Man. 138,866 deaths. And then Bob 08 just gets 40. Bro. 138,866 deaths. That is nuts. Bro, that... I can't even comprehend a tropical cyclone killing over 138,000 people. That just... Man. So, oh yeah, so it was 1973. Hold
Yeah,
on.
1973, besides Nora, was actually a pretty much deep tropic space season.
Oh, here we go. Hold on, everybody. Alright, I'm back. I am back. Wilda.
Wilda had a pretty similar track to Doxury of this year, the one that
yeah.
happened like a week ago, just obviously weaker.
Yeah. Oh, Billy. Whew. Crazy. Like how Fran just existed for like 2 frames and just disappears.
Longest electronic assignment ever.
Yeah, Dot just got strong in the South China Sea, and it remained as a TD all the way from Taiwan to almost Korea. There's Marge. There's Nora. There it
Here we
is.
go.
Yep, it's boom time.
Dear God. That's... I like how Patsy was like, whoa, I do not want to strike the Philippines. And literally, as it's weakening, it literally goes over the Philippines and dies.
Yeah, though.
It's like, whoa, I don't want to hit the Philippines at the strength I am. And then it just like... Let me just like skirt up here first.
really nice gesture.
And Ruth's like, I don't care. There's Sarah. Not too notable. And there's Thelma. This is one of my favorite Force 13 tracks, by the way. Like, not even lying.
Yeah, same here.
Vera ends off the season. That honestly is insane. 215 miles an hour, 874, and you know, they said, you know, it was recorded on the edge of the ice, so it could have been stronger than that.
Yep, plus it didn't have tip size.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's down there
Mhm.
will not be like the same size as tip, for example, because tip had the size advantage, obviously. But yeah.
Mars killed 900 people, and Dot only killed 1. 29 million. Eh. 1997 East Pack. Man, you guys are crazy. Alright, 1997 Eastern Pacific.
More Cat 5 action.
Bro, I swear I thought it was 157. I don't know why. I'm so stupid. But 1997 Eastern Pacific is it's pretty nuts.
Linda. That's like all you gotta say about it.
What the frick? There we go. Right on June 1st. Andreas really loved the skirt land. There's Carlos. Isn't this the season that didn't get a hurricane until like... I was thinking it was the season that didn't get a hurricane until like August or something. think I'm wrong.
I doubt that.
Huh?
Watch your hands on the next one.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it's 1997. I think I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, I'm thinking of something else. Anyways, Dolores becomes the first hurricane of the season. And Enrique follows suit. Becomes the first major of the
Yeah.
season.
Basically, go time after this.
There's Felicia.
There we go, the classic El Nino hurricane thing.
Yeah. Look at that. Category 5. Ooh. How do you even say that name? Is it Guillermo? Or is it... I've always said Guillermo. Or Guillermo.
It's a pretty common name here in, I'd say, Latin America and Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, it's Guillermo.
I mean, I don't know. But... Here's Hilda. Guillermo's act was actually insane. The fact it was a tropical storm at like 40 north almost.
Yeah, it was quite remarkable. Besides the fact that it became the first Cat 5 of the season. It obviously got overshadowed by Linda a bit, though.
Yeah. And even Ignacio's remnants made it up to California. And then Guillermo kind of made it almost as an EX into the northwest. There's Gemina.
Yeah, Gemma basically did a whole clockwise loop around the Pacific.
Yeah. There's Oliver. Heaven. There's Linda.
Linda.
And to think, we still have that name, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
You know what's insane is when you look at that island right there.
Oh, Socorro Island?
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, Linda at peak had one of the cleanest and symmetrical CDOs
Yeah.
in terms of the Eastern Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's definitely in my top 5 there.
There's Nora. This made it into the United States as a tropical storm. I forgot about that. Nora did. It came into the desert southwest as a tropical storm. It's pretty remarkable, actually.
Oh yeah, I also forgot about that.
Yeah, it went into the desert southwest as a tropical storm. It was kind of something else. Don't see that often. There's Olaf.
Oh, timeout. Storm.
Pauline.
Olaf had the person for Lawrence after.
What year did Pauline get... No, wait. Ain't this the same... Yeah, this is the same list they used in 2015, wasn't it? ...2015 and then 21, and I forgot what year was Pauline retired and then replaced with I think it was replaced with Patricia, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was retired after this year.
Oh yeah.
97, honestly.
Yeah, because of that. I like how Olaf was just slowly but surely making its way up into depression. Now look, there's Rick. Rick kind of actually reminded me a lot of Rick 21. Not Rick 21. Rick 15, I don't remember. It might have been Rick 21, I don't know. It reminded me a lot.
Yeah, Rick 21 had a similar track.
Yeah. Bro, that's such an animation mistake.
Yep.
There's Paca. Or Paca, I guess you could say. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's amazing. Linda had, like you said, by far one of the best CDOs, and still has one of the best CDOs of all time. For sure.
What's remarkable about Linda is that it's had impressive looks on both ends of the spectrum, because you have 1997
Yeah.
with that spiral banding plus the symmetrical CDO and DI.
Mm-hmm.
But Linda was also a annular hurricane in 2021. So Linda's had a good history in the EPAC in general.
Yeah. I like how it's... How can they make an analysis of 500 people dying? Is what I'm wanting. Is what I'm wanting to know. How can you analyze that 500 people died?
Magic off the way.
Time travel, though.
Magic.
And Linda was 190 miles an hour. Amazing.
So what? Wait, Yolanda?
Thankfully, Linda never made landfall, because if it did, in like mainland Mexico or something like that, if it made landfall in Mexico just in general, if it wouldn't be with us today.
Oh, Linda. Okay. I thought you said Yolanda.
447 million for Pauline in 1997. Pretty good. Somebody requested 2011 Eastpak. Now 2011 was like amazing.
Very much quality over quantity.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. It was literally quality over quantity is what 2011 was.
I think you meditated it out.
I think 2011 is the basis to where the C4 spam for the E-Pack began. Like, you know how the E-Pack is notorious for the category 4 spam?
Yeah.
I think 2011 is where it became more notable.
Yeah.
Yep. Bible Vista category 4, so boy.
There's Adrian. The first category 4 of the season.
But now it's just about to be all. It's in about a day. It's going to be August.
I know, it's crazy. And the Asia Pacific has kind of had an underperforming season so far, but it's kind of looking like it's going to change.
And aren't we still stuck with
We'll see.
Huh?
96E has a chance to change that narrative.
Yeah. Yeah, right now it's kind of, in fact, well, the new Outlook ain't actually out yet. Which one do you think's going to form first? Do you think 96E will form first, or do you think 96L will form first?
But I think maybe 96L, given it looks more organized right now.
In fact, if we look at 96L, it's looking really good. Actually, though, it's more kind of east side loaded, really, right now. I'd say.
Yeah, it's
96E.
It's encountering some shear, but it's definitely east side loaded.
But you see, the difference between 96L and 96E is that 96L has more low level organization. You know, 96E was, I mean, it looked organized, but it was mainly in the mid level.
96E right now is not honestly looking good.
No, I mean, it was expected.
That's really true.
Mostly when you have this mid level organization, convection tends to fluctuate most. But I'd say, I mean, it has a more favorable environment than 96L.
True. And then you've got 97L, which is rather 97L is rather elongated right now. It's not really.
Yeah, it's been frontal since like I think 8 p.m. Eastern. No, from the
It still has a chance. I mean, if you really do look at kind of this general area right here, you know, it has a chance still, probably because of the deep convection. Maybe could become maybe a short-lived tropical storm but you know, it's still, like I
And-
said, rather elongated because it's connected to this. It's connected to this like front right here, and it's not
It's
really.
up
I mean,
to-
wouldn't
it's
it
pretty
have
much
to
up
be
to-
cash on any cancel for me?
What?
What was the
Isn't that
question?
perfect right here?
I don't know. And then you have Typhoon Kanan, as I like to call it, and you can see, I mean, it's got a pretty good
Oh
eye.
yeah, it looks much better now.
Yeah. You can
I don't
see
know if you
that.
noticed
You
that.
can see. You
Tell
can
it
see
pretty up on
the.
the
You can see the
giant, there's an area.
You can see the mesovorticities in the eye right now.
Ah, that's always my favorite part.
Yeah. You can see the mesovorticities in the eye of Conan. Yeah, Conan. Mesovorticities are pretty
So maybe get the
pretty
super
evident
technical
actually in
lose it
Conan
off
right
hand.
now.
Isn't it
Yeah.
supposed to make some impacts in Miyakojima?
Yeah. I think the
It's
track actually.
Probably
The
not
track.
going to be a direct impact, but yeah, the track does shift a lot.
The track has shifted a lot, as in it looks like it's slowing down now instead of making landfall.
It's expected to stall out.
Yeah,
So
and
China and
obviously-
Wait, is it expected to
towards-
stall?
obviously that's gonna cause a pretty good cold wake actually.
Yeah, but I mean, cold wakes are not really much in the Western Pacific. They warm up back in like a week or something.
And 125 knots. I mean that's about 140 miles an hour.
I think it's 145 actually.
145. I think. Hold on. I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it is.
125
Yeah, it's 145.
knots is 145,
So-
130 is 150.
So Joint Typhoon Warning Center actually has it going, peaking at 145 miles an hour, and I mean, you know, by the looks of the storm, I mean, it might have a pretty good shot at doing that. Like I said, you know, it's you can see the mesovorticities looking really good. I mean, the Western Pacific.
I mean, right now it's sort of fluctuating in terms of the vortex. Obviously, it's sort of fluctuating between, I'd say, high end Cat 3 to
Yeah.
maybe 130 mile per hour Cat 4. Because the white ring on vortex closures, it would be 6.0. But it's been fluctuating. It's been kind of closing and then opening again. But I feel it's in a good time. Cat 4 might be super typhoon even.
What's your thoughts on 95B?
To be quite honest, I haven't really touched on it that much. But
You can see its center. You can see the low-level center kind of in this kind of general. It's kind of in this general area right here is the low-level circulation.
I think it's. I don't know. I started. It had about maybe 30 knots support, but the center was still pretty frothy. It wasn't as
It's
good.
right now. There's a lot of factors that don't support development for 95B.
I mean, it's probably gonna move overland in like a day or so.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's got like 30 hours before it makes landfall.
I mean, tropics got really active all of a sudden. I mean, you have Conan, you have 96L, 97L, 96E, 95B. I mean, and then eventually you're gonna have 97E, probably even 97E, and then
And we have more Westpac stuff
yeah.
down the road. It's gonna be mainly sloppy systems because of the monsoon strengthen a lot. It's gonna be extending to the subtropics.
Waiting to see when that new Outlook comes out, which will be soon, but we'll go back to the animation, I guess.
Yeah.
The animation?
Yeah, I'm reacting to stuff.
Ah, okay.
There's Beatrice. I just kind of noticed Beatrice 2011 kind of did, like I said, a pretty. I think I mentioned that actually when we had Beatrice 2023 going on. That Beatrice 23 was actually doing a Beatrice 2011 type track.
It also died very quickly as well.
Yeah. There's Calvin. I've kind of noticed that so far, not much, but so far kind of Eastern Pacific kind of had somewhat of a similar start to the season as 2011. Only difference is that Adrian and Beatrice both formed at the same time in late June, but Calvin did actually exist around this time, and around that time, July 9th in 2011. So,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't we already towards the latest D name for the East Pack?
I think we are actually.
Considering it's literally almost August now.
I mean, I think if you put it in terms of the DNIM, I think we are in the top 3. Maybe we're approaching the number 1. But in terms of the 50C, I think we're number 3 right now. I gotta check.
Only difference the big difference about Calvin 23 and Calvin 2011 is that Calvin 23 was actually the first major of the season and made it all the way to Hawaii. And Calvin 2011 didn't even make it out of the Eastern Pacific. So. There's Dora.
Luca's favorite hurricane.
That's Dora the Explorer.
There you go. Category 4 Dora.
Almost 5.
Go on, Dora.
What exactly?
Do your adventure.
Wait, what exactly are you reacting to right now? 2011 E-Pack?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but I think the third latest 50C formation for the EPAC is actually Eugene in 2011, and Eugene formed on July 31st. So it's actually pretty close. It's sort of in a race with 96E right now.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, looking at the at the the NHC's thing, I don't think this right here, this small area of low pressure in the open Eastern Pacific is going to become anything at all. Actually, I mean, maybe if it continues, maybe a little bit farther, but it's going to has a lot of strong upper level winds. More than likely, what I'm very intrigued about is how is this going to compete with 96E?
I mean, you mean the other AUI?
Yeah.
That one should come afterwards. Like,
I know, but won't you think that maybe Dora's outflow would affect it?
I mean, it depends. If it moves more westward, maybe. But I think since it's expected to move more west-northwestward or northwestward, I think it isn't expected to affect it that much. I gotta check. I haven't checked much on
I'm
that
pretty
other
sure a lot of the
AOI.
models. I'm pretty sure a lot of the models see it going out to sea.
Of course, it's due to DFS Nick started 946 nil about Hurricane.
Yeah, I haven't checked much on that AOI. I'm more with 96E right now because it's the most recent. But for 96E, I said it earlier, but I think 96E it has good major hurricane potential. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
No,
right
yeah, I
now
agree.
the
Especially if it takes that southerly track, and this is all the cooler waters to the north.
yeah, and right now the intensity guidance is mostly above Cat 2. The consensus is actually at 100 knots, so right at Cat 3.
Mm. Well, I guess we'll see what happens, but I'm gonna go back to the animation again.
Are people still thinking that this E-Tax is going to be above average?
I don't know.
I think I think it's possible, because I mean there's been some variation between the EPS, but if you take a sample of the EPS members, they actually have some rise in motion over the EPAC most of the for most of August, and the upper levels look good uh, from the EPS as well. GFS too. If you look at the GFS, if you extend it into the long range, you're gonna see just a bunch of hyperstorms that GFS tends to over exaggerate, but they're still there, which is a sign that EPAC could get more active, obviously. But I say it varies because if you look at the control member for EPS, they actually have downward motion. They have sinking air in the Eastern Pacific for I think the second week of August onwards, and they also have a African standing wave.
What? Uh, what is being said about ocean heat content?
For the EPAC,
Yeah.
I gotta check real quick.
The Atlantic. Pacific.
Yeah, so EPAC has about 100 kilojoules per square meter of ocean heat content. The highest ocean heat content is basically close to the southwestern coast of Mexico.
I can see that. Yeah, it's doing much
The
better than it was earlier this season.
the next AOI behind 96E has better ocean heat content because 96E has about between 50 and 70 kilojoules, but as it moves westward, it gradually decreases.
I'm seeing a spot of 125.
Yeah, that's fantasy right there by the GFS, but typical GFS. Now, I remember when 2020, where GFS kept spamming 920s, 930s in the EPAC and the fantasy range for weeks.
Let's see, Gulf of Mexico. Oh, yeah, I can definitely see that OHC.
Greg.
Like, especially in the Atlantic. Oh my god.
What?
Like, the OHC in the Atlantic could deal with some really big storms.
Yeah.
I'm concerned, like, if one storm enters the Gulf of Mexico, it's gonna freaking do something like a war or some kind of freaking Ida, and it's rapidly intensify and hit Louisiana. Well, that'd be the third. What would that be? What would the fourth?
I feel like we're on our way to potentially seeing a fourth season in a row.
Yeah, in a row to have a major landfall on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, and possibly at a 150 mile an hour intensity. Or stronger.
Just don't let it hit me this time.
I think it's literally, we're going to have... If we get a fourth season of that happening, that's nuts. And that's concerning.
And to think we went almost 12 years about a major hit in the U.S.
I mean, pretty much after this season. I mean, this season I get a strong Nino, but I mean later in the winter. But the early indications are that this Nino won't last long.
I know. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm very concerned about with next year. Is there's a possibility. It don't show it on the climate models or anything yet, but there's a possibility La Nina can make a comeback next year.
Oh dear God. We don't want to be strong like 2020.
I think I'm gonna lean more on the neutral side for now.
Yeah.
I think for now a good call for next season would be neutral.
Yeah.
Maybe give or take warm neutral, cold neutral, but in that general spectrum.
Next year,
I'm actually working on a hyper for the 2024 season.
I'm really genuinely thinking 2024 is going to be a much more certain hurricane season, because even if the sea surface temperatures in the Atlantic are very, very warm like they are this year, it's going to be more certain as to what could happen, because it's just the reason why we don't know about this year is because it's El Nino.
We started what?
Huh?
Sorry, my internet's being stupid, so you keep cutting out.
I feel like it's going to be more certain next year in terms of what kind of season we could see in the North Atlantic next year, because the only reason why we're having issues this year is because this is El Nino and it's expected to be rather moderate, maybe even strong eventually, which I doubt that actually happening at this point.
Yeah, and despite this being an El Nino year,
the look the Atlantic has right now is the look that you expect in a well above normal hurricane season in the North Atlantic, which is why it's so hard to predict as to what could happen this season. Think about it, right? Everybody was predicting a slightly below normal hurricane season. Now they're expecting a hurricane season pretty similar to a La Nina.
I mean, to be fair, I still think the best shot that the Atlantic has is in August here. I mean, the best shot for being above average, because obviously you have September. September's going to be the peak month, regardless of whether or not if it's a Nino or a Nina. But I think by October, the Nino effects are probably going to be more pronounced by October.
Mm-hmm.
So I think August is the best shot that the Atlantic has.
And
Agreed.
see that what really was amazing a few hurricane seasons ago, back in 2020, was November 2020. November 2020, late 2020 was basically quality quantity. But like think about it though, That right there showed you a true La Nina.
Yeah, it shows you what a La Nina can do, especially if it's a stupidly strong one.
Yeah. That was.
Yep, and
Just
combined
don't
with
get it too
deadly.
strong like 2010, then you have like problems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
I'd
usually,
say,
Yeah,
I'd
that's
say
what I'm
even,
concerned about.
usually, and this is what a lot of people don't ever think about. Usually, the effects of El Nino and La Nina don't even typically happen until around October.
yeah, but most of them form during the summer. That's why. So if it forms around the summer, I'd say fall is when the effects start to get there.
Mm.
Just delay it by a season is what I generally do. I mean, it varies a lot, but
I'm thinking
that's what generally happens.
what's gonna happen this year is we're gonna have an El Nino winter that transitions to a neutral Enzo sometime in spring of next year, and then right now it's uncertain, but I think we're going to remain neutral for the hurricane season next year, which would obviously mean slightly more activity in the Atlantic because lesser wind shear,
Oh yeah, definitely.
and which would mean the Caribbean wouldn't be shut off. And if we have if we have ridiculously warm sea surface temperatures in the Gulf next year, and by God, I swear to God, if we get a fourth season this year, even in an El Nino, because think about it this way, right? Even in an El Nino, you can have a monster in the Gulf.
Yeah, 1992 proved that.
Yeah.
1980 proved that. Yeah, wait, I don't know about 1980 though.
Usually the Gulf
Cool.
is not affected
1982
much.
wasn't really an El Nino
The
year,
Gulf usually isn't affected much by El Nino.
It's mainly the Western Caribbean and
No.
Bay of Campeche.
Yeah. It's usually the
So you know
southern
what they
Gulf,
say? It
Caribbean
only
area.
takes one.
And see, that's the thing too. If you think about it, that's another reason why a lot of people expect El Nino to not have much of an effect this year, because the very warm sea surface temperatures, and thinking about it too, that most of, the activity that we might see this year might be from African waves that head towards the west and not into the Caribbean, but more northwest towards, the East Coast and stuff. That's what I'm thinking this season's going to be more like. I think this season's going to be more of like the traditional.
That could also spot a master for the East Coast, considering that's where a lot of cities and stuff are.
I'm thinking this season's going to be more of a Cabo Verde season than previous years. I think Cabo Verde season's going to be predominantly the main factor this hurricane season, because if you get a tropical system going into the Caribbean, yes, there probably could be an opening over the next 6 weeks, maybe a very short time where a tropical cyclone could go in there and there'd be weaker wind shear in the Caribbean, and then it goes into the Gulf and it becomes an absolute beast.
Thing is, I'm really concerned about is, what if we get a really stupidly strong El Nino that we've never seen before?
Well, see,
I mean,
we've never had anything more than... I mean, we've had strong La Ninas, but we've never had super Ninas.
Yeah,
I don't
that
think
scares
would
me.
be. I don't think that would be good for the Atlantic, because you can't have that strong of a Nina either. I think
You know what doesn't make any sense to me? How come you can have such a crazy hurricane season in the Eastern Pacific with a Super Nino, but then it seems like with a Super Nina, it would just absolutely kill the Atlantic?
well, not entirely kill it, but I think it has to do more with mainly with the air rises and sinks. But
Yeah.
I mean, for example, even if you don't get a super Nina,
Mhm.
you could see like triple dip La Ninas. For example, like
Mhm.
last season was pretty much average, and that's not what you would expect with a Nina.
Well, see,
But
the reason why I kind of saw it coming because third year La Ninas tend to be around average.
yeah, and to my point, it's I think eventually the pattern shifts so much that it kind of moves out of the favorability point for really both bases. I think if you get either a super Nina or a triple dip La Nina, it basically just kills off the Western Hemisphere.
I'm I've always wondered if you had a three dip El Nino, you would think what goes on in the Atlantic where it kind of makes the basin calm down a little bit after 2 seasons, and if you have a third El Nino, you'd think maybe it would allow the Atlantic to be more active because of it being a third year El Nino, but it seems it seems like it don't even matter.
Yeah, what happened, like what I was saying was that with El Ninos, you typically have a rising cell over the Eastern Pacific consistently for most of the season. I mean, sometimes it could fluctuate because when the Western Pacific rising cell becomes too strong, it eventually suppresses the EPAC a bit, but
Which
just
is
a bit
kind of ain't that
downstream.
kind of what's been going on this year, kind of.
I think this year is more because of the negative PMM
Yeah.
and the PDO,
See,
but
I think that's what's going to keep the hurricane season in check in the Eastern Pacific is going to be the PDO and the negative PMM and stuff like that.
it's been warming a lot though. The anomalies have been increasing a lot for the past I think 2 weeks. I
Hmm.
think we might be out of the negative PMM soon. And what I was saying was that when you have a consistent rising solar over the Eastern Pacific, you typically have a sinking cell over the western part of the Atlantic. So considering that with La Niñas you get mainly easterlies across the Eastern Pacific, you don't get much of a rising cell either. And if you don't get a rising cell in the Eastern Pacific, you could have rising air over in the Atlantic instead.
True.
But
See, and there's a lot of the models have been showing, that there could be a possibility that the Eastern Pacific and the Atlantic could have a rising cell.
I don't know if it's my internet being bad, but you cut off.
What I was saying was like
Also,
some of the models have been showing a rising cell in both the Eastern Pacific and the Atlantic.
For August,
Yeah. And if you look at the rising motion, it's looking both Eastern Pacific and Atlantic.
I think it's
But
I
it's
think it's the it's like caught in between the propagation because eventually when the rise in motion moves over the EPAC, it should move into the Atlantic. At least that's what the EPS is expecting.
hmm I think genuinely I think this season's going to have some surprises. I mean, I genuinely think we're going to have some surprises this year. Something that you don't expect in an El Nino. I'm going back to the animation.
Oh, the outlook's out for the Atlantic.
What?
So 96L is 7080, and the Gulf Stream, I mean 97L. I was about to call it the Gulf Stream. 97L is still 30%. in both the 2-day and the 7-day.
Hmm. There's Hillary. Hurricane Hillary. Something I always mention is, El Nino, La Nina, and stuff like that. Usually the Atlantic has its turn, Eastern Pacific has its turn to be very active and stuff like that. But like, if you've noticed, like I've said, the Atlantic is wanting to kind of overperform. And it's been trying to, but because of the dry Saharan air, kind of keeping things at bay again, like it did last year. Somewhat. Now, there's differences from last year compared to this year, but...
Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention was that typically if you have like a triple dip La Nina, or if
Mhm.
you have a super Nina in theory, that also pretty much increases the stability in the Atlantic. So you can have lower shear, but that's basically exchanged for more stability
What do you
across
think?
the basin.
Okay, so what do you think is the best setup for the Atlantic?
I'd say weak La Nina or extremely cold neutral, like on the tip of being a La Nina.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, that was sort of the setup for 2005 and 2017, for example.
Yeah. 2020, by the way, for most of the season was like that too.
Yeah.
Actually, originally, wasn't 2020 expected to be El Nino, and then it kind of failed?
No, I think the Nina overperformed, but I think since spring it was expected to be like since January it was expected to be at least either a cold neutral or a weak La Nina.
Hmm.
It was at 2017 where it was expected to be a Nino up
Oh yeah,
until
it was
probably
17. Not it wasn't 20. It was 17.
yeah. So 2017 I think it was up to 30, until easterlies kept spamming over the end. So eventually it shifted from a Nino to a cold neutral. Agency forecast goes up, and then eventually
Yeah, I mean, it really is remarkable how the how the Atlantic is actually right now having one of the most active El Ninos right now on record. Actually, 5 named storms and 1 hurricane as of July 31st.
yep, and 96L honestly, right now, I don't know if you noticed, but if you see, I sent an image on the general voice chat. It's
Mhm.
in ASCAP pass on 96E, and 96E pretty much has no low level structure. Like 96L at least has a sharp trough axis, So I think 96L is gonna form sooner, just by a bit. But you got to remember that 96E has it easier because it has more favorable conditions. But yeah, and ASCAT only got about 20 knots
You know what? I mean,
in the vicinity
here,
of the low pressure.
here's what's funny. It seems like the Atlantic and the Eastern Pacific, they always compete with each other. It's like it's like they always compete with each other. Like, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, they're in the Western Hemisphere. They're the main Western Hemisphere basin. So
I know, but like the Atlantic, for like the last several months has been ahead of the Eastern Pacific, and now the Eastern Pacific is trying to get ahead of the Atlantic, but the Atlantic keeps trying to spawn things the same time the Eastern Pacific. So what's funny is the Atlantic has one, you know, AOI that is very likely to form, but then the Eastern Pacific's like, you know what? I'm gonna get two AOIs so I can try and get ahead of the Atlantic of the Atlantic.
and on average, I mean, besides obviously the EPAC is on average a tad more active than the Atlantic,
Yeah.
but usually for most of the early season, the EPAC is ahead of the Atlantic. It's not until maybe peak season for the Atlantic, September, where the Atlantic eventually catches up.
Yeah.
But it's basically because climatology favors the EPAC a lot in August. So they basically have earlier favorable period than the Atlantic.
Ain't the peak season? Don't the peak season start in the Eastern Pacific in July? Don't peak season in the Eastern Pacific start in like July?
You cut out. I don't know if it's my internet.
The first peak is in July, yes, and then it has a secondary peak in late August.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, the Atlantic has two peaks. One's September. Well, technically, yeah, September, and then one's mid-October. Mid-October is kind of like another like secondary peak. Even though the peak actually goes from about August 15th or 20th to about October 15th, 20th-ish. What would you say the Central Pacific's peak is? I've never really gotten a good answer about Central Pacific. Like, even though Central Pacific hasn't had any names for the last like 4 years, what would you say a good peak?
I mean, to be fair with the Central Pacific, you basically have a Nina, and the Central Pacific is shut down entirely. And even with an El Nino, the Central Pacific maybe has on average around maybe 3, 4 storms. I mean, not necessarily storms, tropical cyclones, 3, 4, 5.
Central
I'd say
Pacific.
the average, it depends a lot of the Enzo, obviously, but I'd say the average is right around 4 or 5.
See, and that's the thing. They're predicting an above normal season in the Central Pacific. There's not even been a single named storm, and it's like August.
Yeah, and the Central Pacific, it's obviously a smaller basin, but it also depends a lot on, you have to have a lot of favorable pieces put together for it to work out there.
Yeah.
Because you can have like right now, you can have an El Nino,
Mhm.
but if you had that cold tongue, like the negative PMM, that's
Mhm.
stretching all from the eastern, northeastern Pacific all the way down towards Hawaii,
Mhm.
and that pretty much suppresses the Central Pacific a lot. And we've seen it this year. I mean, so far nothing in the Central Pacific, not even in AOI
Well, there was
so
an
far.
AOI, but it was Calvin.
Yeah, it was. I don't count that one. It came from the EPAC.
However, last year had a few AOIs, and that was a La Nina.
Yeah, yeah, but in general, I'd say this the Central Pacific's peak goes along with the Eastern Pacific's peak. Although the Central Pacific doesn't have that
Much of a
much of
peak.
a
It's not really much of a peak. It's
yeah,
more of a
it's sort of throughout history it forms sporadically. Like maybe you get stuff on June, maybe on July, on August, on well not on June, but July, August, September. But there's not much of a peak, and it's mainly due to the amount of storms that form in the Central Pacific on average.
Let me try and finish this animation now. There's the death of Iron. Oh yeah, Kenneth. See, if Kenneth does not make it to Category 4 status, I've already said this in the Discord. If it don't make it to Category 4 status, the world ends. Because Kenneth has always been a Category 4. Even in the one time it was used in the Southwest Indian Ocean, it was a Category 4.
Oh right, I just remembered Kenneth. Yeah, it's in a
If Kenneth
category
does,
four
if
everywhere.
Kenneth does not make it to Category 4 status this year, the world ends. The world freaking ends. If we get to Kenneth, now keep this in mind. There's a possibility we could not get to Kenneth, but I'm not saying that that'll happen because, like you said, rising air and rising sail over the Pacific for most of August. But anyways,
I think we'll get there.
What?
To Kenneth, you said.
Yeah, I mean, I think we will get to Kenneth. I mean, that's only the 10th named storm. I mean, on average, Eastern Pacific average is about what? Maybe 15 named storms? Is it 15 or 16? On average, just like a normal average, I think it's like 15 or 16.
Average is 15, yes.
Yeah, it only averages like one more storm than the Atlantic, so I mean, it's not really like crazy.
It used to be I think it was an average two more named storms from the previous climate
What would
for
you
the
think,
previous decade.
just in your general opinion, do you think the average for the Atlantic right now is still 14? Or do you think it might have been, like, maybe the averages went up to 15 now?
I mean, this is the 1991 to 2020 climate.
Mm-hmm.
I think yeah, so I'd say 14 is good. I mean, obviously after 2005 probably, especially like the latter seasons of the Climo, they really carried a lot. Because if it
Yeah.
wasn't for those seasons, it'd probably be close to 10 named storms as an average.
Yeah, because the Atlantic really didn't start getting above, like, because for several decades during the times that, the records go back to 1851 in the Atlantic. For several decades, the Atlantic would only average maybe about 7, 8, 9 named storms.
Yeah, and I mean, like for example, with the previous climatology, which was 1980 to 2010 or so. I mean, the 1980s decade in the Atlantic wasn't that big, which is a main reason why you could also say theoretically that the 1990s wasn't that big either. Maybe you could factor in 1995, maybe 98 and 99. But yeah, it depends a lot on how the Enzo is for most of the Climo period.
We also, if you really think about it though too, I think a big factor as to why we see more Atlantic storms than we used to, because I know there's been a big increase since 1980. There's been a big increase in tropical activity in the Atlantic. I think it's just because we are able to detect it more because of satellites. Like satellites
That's a big reason why.
are a lot more advanced than they were in the 1960s and 70s and all that sorts of stuff.
I mean, yeah, if we had satellites, 1914 probably wouldn't be as dead as it was, to be honest.
I'd say if satellites were something that we had even back in the if we launched satellites during the, I don't know, the Industrial Revolution, right, which was like the 18 no well no it was the yeah it was the 1870s ish, somewhere around there. It was 1860s or 1870s, but if we would have launched satellites into orbit in like the 1860s or 70s, whenever, like, you know, the Atlantic, you know, database kind of started up, I'm sure that we have had a normal, probably, like the amount of storms we see now, I think is the storms we probably saw 50 to 100 years ago, but we just never detected it.
Just imagine satellite imagery on the Great Hurricane of 1780. I mean, that hurricane is probably one of the biggest mysteries, because I mean,
Yeah, because
some people
we'll
some
never
people
know.
estimate it to be the strongest Atlantic hurricane, but too much uncertainty with that. I think that's mainly based off of damages.
I mean, the damages that it caused is more common with a storm that's around 150.
Yeah, it's possible it was a Cat 5, but I doubt it was about, I mean, above 190 miles per hour, as some sources say.
I'm
I
I'm
mean, it did cause a lot of deaths, too. It
I'm
went through a
truly
lot of poor areas.
I'm truly wondering, will there ever be a day in the very maybe close future that there will be a 200 mile an hour Category 5 hurricane in the North Atlantic?
Mm, I don't. I mean, to be honest, with the recent trends, of course, I think in the near future, maybe, but not exactly. I mean, you could have probably like low wind shear and stuff, but you
Mm-hmm.
need everything to be perfect to get that kind of storm. And I think like you need proper upper level anti-cyclone positioning. You need to have lots of outflow channels. The sea surface temperatures have to be near ideal. The moisture has to be near ideal. And in the Atlantic, quite frankly, I don't know.
We have a dry air problem in the Atlantic.
Yeah, and the Atlantic, especially, like the biggest chance we have for a 200 mile per hour system, I'd say is probably the Caribbean. And the thing with the Caribbean is that, you know, it depends a lot on the Enzo, obviously, but there's also a lot of land around the Caribbean. So it's not like in an open body of water.
Yeah,
And the open body of water is mainly like the MDR, maybe the subtropics, but there obviously wouldn't be a 200 mile per hour Cat 5 in the subtropics because the SSTs
yeah.
are much lower there. I would say jet interaction, but jet interactions are most common for the Eastern Pacific. I mean, that's how Patricia got boosted up.
See, this is what terrified me the most. 2 years separated Irma and Dorian. All right, just think about it. Irma and Dorian were only separated by 2 years. Irma was 180. Originally, operationally, it was 185 up until post-analysis. And then Dorian, 2 years later, was 185 miles an hour. Do you think that stuff's becoming more common in the North Atlantic, or do you think it's just kind of a coincidence, or like, what do you think?
I mean, mm,
It's hard
I'd
to
say it's
say.
yeah. The thing is that before that, for example, like before 2017, we did have Matthew, but then you have 2015, we did have Joaquin. So I think it's not so the fact that it's becoming more common. I think like if you put climate change into play, for example, I think it's not how strong the storms are getting. I think it's the frequency in which the storms get strong. I'd say definitely it depends a lot on the climatology for
Mm-hmm.
that season, because you could randomly have some spouts of activity, but you could also have some spouts of inactivity because of the Enzo. And 2017 to 2019 had it was a favorable, not exactly favorable, but it was favorable enough. I mean, 2018 also had Michaels, so
Yeah.
yeah, basically, back to back to back to back Cat fives there.
See, and
I
that's
think,
that's what was concerning was the fact that 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019 all had Category 5 hurricanes. And I was like, and in 2020, operationally, Iota was a Category 5, and then obviously post analysis dropped it down to, what was it? What was it, 150 or 155? I think it was 155.
155.
yeah,
And
like
that had
for the
some, even when it did become a Category 5, it had some very questionable, things.
I mean, Iota was basically, Iota got the Matthew treatment, except that Matthew is the only TC that got the Matthew treatment, obviously, because I think
Would you even say nowadays that Matthew was a Category 5? It looked more like a 4.
in my opinion it wasn't,
I say
but
100 miles of that peak in the Caribbean.
I feel like Matthew was more of a 4, like maybe a 140 or maybe 150. I don't know.
There's only like one little piece of data that supported Category 5, and that was the SFM
I
North.
mean,
That's
And
high volume.
Lorenzo, like,
yeah, if Iota was analyzed under the same criteria that the NHG had back in 2016, it would also stuck as a Cat 5, because Iota got downgraded because of the SFMR,
yeah.
but like the SFMR got completely disregarded with Matthew. So
What was it with Matthew?
I think it was the SFMR were, I think they were higher actually. I think they were higher. The flight level winds were sort of wacky. It was a wacky flight level wind to SFMR rate or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, by the NHC criteria, the SFMR would have been considered inflated right now. Like if let's say Matthew formed this season, it would have been tops probably 130 knots, because
Yeah.
the SFMR would be considered inflated.
So with Lorenzo, like, what do you think with Lorenzo? Like, seriously, like, where did they even get that information? It was just satellite estimates, wasn't it? That they even went with a Category 5.
I think I don't remember because in 2019 after Dorian, there was a large time that I spent without tracking because I got into a new school and stuff, and I had to get
Oh yeah.
used to that school. But I think Lorenzo had uh, a T 7.0 rating, on the Borak. I don't know how long it sustained it for, but I think it reached 7.0.
Oh yeah.
It lasts for about 2 hours.
I mean, in my opinion, 2 hours isn't enough,
I remember the
but
Yeah,
days. I remember the days when
the ice
everybody.
wasn't all that great
I
with
remember
it.
the days when Camille was like considered 190
Yeah.
at landfall, like, and then they dropped it to 175. I think, wasn't it? And then after dropping it to 175, didn't they drop it to like one? Has it dropped?
No, it's still 175.
It's still 175. Okay. Oh, here's Kenneth. I forgot about Kenneth. we need to finish the legacy here. Bro, I've been on this animation for at least 30 minutes. Dora was 155 miles an hour in 2011.
See?
I'm gonna find the invisible block. Oh my god, which one's the invisible block?
The fact that a tropical depression killed more people than any of the named storms in 2011 is something else.
Yeah, you can have a lot of. I mean, most of the associated deaths from a tropical depression are because of the rainfall.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, TD Winnie in 2001, I think it was, in the Westpac also caused a lot of deaths, and it was mainly rainfall.
True.
That's why the NHC tends to always emphasize that when they have a disturbance or something, that regardless of whether or not it's a TC or not, or whether or not it's strong, that even a tropical depression could cause a lot of deaths, especially if it stalls over the area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you remember Nate when it was a TD
Mm-hmm.
in 2017? Central America I think it dropped. It was, I think, 13 inches of rain in Costa Rica or something like that. 13 or 15. It was above a foot of rain, I think.
Dawn for sure. If Dawn would have gotten close to the coast this year, but with its slow, with like its, well, it wasn't really slow. It was more, it kept doing loops.
Yeah.
Dawn could have had a retirement too because of like the looping and stuff that it could have done.
Oh jeez, it's 2 a.m. though.
Oh no, I need
I'm
to.
gonna go.
I know.
I'm gonna head off. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, have a good night, guys.
You too.
Two.
Well, guys, like he said, it is 2:00 in the morning. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end this stream. But we had some good times. I've been live for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, that's a pretty good amount of time of being live. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this here. Thank y'all for watching. Hopefully, let me go ahead and check this. Actually, I need to actually check this. Hopefully, YouTube will not screw me over tomorrow or today and completely screw my live streams up. Because if you all noticed, the stream ended early today because it got warned for third-party content. If I go to the live stream, It literally says that this was removed for violating YouTube's policy on spam, deceptive practices, and scams, okay? That's none of that, by the way. And they're referring to the music I used, but yet the music that I used, you can use, because there's people who uploaded it like 5 years ago, all right? And they might get a claim. They might get a claim, or they don't even get anything at all. Me on the other hand, they completely delete my stream. So, and I sent an appeal into YouTube about that. And maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's gonna suck. Hopefully the strike goes away. Like I said, I sent an appeal about a couple hours before the stream started up, so maybe they'll take it off, but I don't know. Probably not. But anyways, hopefully. I didn't have any problems with this for 3 years, and all of a sudden I have problems with this. I don't know why. Randomly in 2023, I randomly started getting problems with this, with using the Weather Channel music that I've been using for 3 years, and I haven't had any trouble with it. And not only that, people have used it and they have not gotten in trouble at all. Worst case scenario, I would have gotten a claim from the Weather Channel or from something about it, right? But no, I mean, now they're taking my stuff off, and if if it gets removed again, I can't stream for a week or upload for a week. So, I don't know. Honestly, I don't understand why YouTube is doing it now, but they didn't do it 3 years ago, right? It makes no sense, but I don't know. But anyways, I might figure it out eventually. Who knows? But anyways, it's almost 2:20 in the morning, guys. I'm gonna probably go to bed here soon. But thank you all for watching the stream, and hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for suggesting stuff for me to watch, and we'll see you guys next time.